Mrs. Miller.
Let the record show 5 members are present, 2 members are absent. Members of council, what is your pleasure on the approval of the written minutes of January 28th council meeting?
Mr. President,
Mr. DeBerke.
make a motion to approve the written minutes of January 28th council meeting.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. DeBerke, second by Mr. Ray Culverson to approve the written minutes of the January 28th council meeting. Are there any remarks? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. We'll move to reports of administrative officials. Mayor Stuchel, got a couple items on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you can see, I've presented you with sample ordinances that aren't numbered yet, but Heidi will have that taken care of, so I did this part myself. But basically, starting on the ordinance that has the multiple departments, where you had police department clerks, service department laborers, the pool and swim program, et cetera. All of those positions I have with a 3% increase in each step. So I actually took under the police department. We had dispatchers, eliminated that because we no longer have that, of course. And we do have the clerks, but the clerks that we currently have do not have a step program. So basically, there's one that's has senior status over the other. So basically, added the 3%, and we have another one for them to grow into in the third. Again, everybody was given 3% across the board. So again, that was that was before adding 10% for, 10 cents for the increase in minimum wage. So I highlighted the items where the minimum wage was in effect. You can see under the swim lesson assistants, the craft assistants, and the pool attendants. But I felt that 3% for the seasonal part-time individuals and the part-time employees in the police department was fair. I did. I thought I put it on your. No, no. I thought I put them on everybody.
Don't worry about it. Grab Cindy, Steve.
Sorry, I put them out. Here you go. Sorry. Yeah, there, I knew you'd say that.
No?
Sorry.
Oh, no. Okay, I see this.
Now we good?
Yeah, this is much.
All right, perfect. So 3% there, and then on the other sample ordinances, I also addressed the transportation side, dispatchers and drivers. The reason that there's 2, of course, I had to clear this up with Don Taberke, or someone that was definitely older than me that could remember. There's only one person that's actually in the second, and I believe that's Sandy. That's why there are 2 separate ordinances, if that makes sense. So those were there was 3% given there. Because the newer ordinance has the steps, and the other did not.
This is, okay.
Mr. President,
Mr. DeBerke.
and make a motion to put all 3 ordinances on the table for next council meeting.
A motion by Mr. DeBerke, second by Mr. Bob Culverson to place all 3 of these ordinances on the table for next meeting. Are there any remarks? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Am I still on?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry.
Next item on the agenda being the agreement or contract with the Village of Elmwood Place to bill them for emergency medical responses. This is back on the table. We're back working with them. This is the copy of this agreement is actually in the hands of their legal counsel, and I wanted to give you all an opportunity to review this. I have not heard back from them. They are perfectly aware of what this is. We still are discussing and leaning with the amount that was discussed previously of $350 per response. Yes, I am aware that we could bill more, and it does sometimes cost more, but that was based on an average over the number of responses over a year's time. So I still feel that that is a fair amount to recover, but we would also assume all EMS billing. So any response that we made, we would be billing insurance for that as well on that run. So again, at this point, with the way that the numbers have escalated and the number of responses, we've got back together with them, They are in a position, and we all agree that this is not a permanent solution. This is really meant to be a temporary fixed for now for us to at least receive some sort of compensation while they work through their processes. I believe they are going to be putting a levy on, and an operating levy for EMS. So at this point, I do feel that this is reasonable, and we can address the long-term solution if that is something that would ever come into play. I'm not suggesting that we're trying to take over their department, but my point being is that this for now will get by until they can actually work through their options to attract additional employees for coverage.
Mr. President,
Mr. DeVerke?
just so I got it right in my mind, we're charging $350 per run, plus we keep any soft billing money we get.
Mr. President, that's correct.
And how many years you suggesting we do this for?
So this is renewable. So basically, my suggestion would be whether we do it for a 6-month period of time. Basically, the minimum, we have to give notice, 6-month notice of termination. So whether or not we do it for a 6-month period of time, whether we do it for a year, my suggestion would be for a year, and then we readdress. But our goal is to stay in pretty close communication to monitor this as they, progress through their, issues as well. The line of communication hopefully will be better, and we can again address the fact that they are actually going to be putting on a levy. I don't know the time frame. I'm not sure if the fire chief has anything further. So they're looking May for their levy. So we can go from there. But I think a year is a fair duration for now, and then we could reassess that as to whether or not we want to continue. But I feel that we definitely need to be compensated for what we're doing, and they don't deny that either. So it's.
Any other questions, or? Mayor, are you looking to have this on the table for next council meeting then, or?
Mr. President, so I will let you know for sure if this is possible. I am waiting to hear back from their legal counsel to find out if this is something that's a go. If so, yes. If not, I will advise you on whether or not this is delayed until next month. But, that is my goal, is then we can immediately start, billing for that once both parties agree on it and actually have an associated ordinance.
Mr. President,
Mr. DeVerke?
make a motion, put the contract on the table for next council meeting if it's ready.
I'll second that.
A motion by Mr. DeVerke, second by Mr. Schultmeyer to place ordinance on the table for an agreement for emergency services with Elmwood Place. Are there any remarks? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Anything else, Mayor?
I don't have anything else other than just, I think this is pretty obvious here this last week or so with what we've dealt with weather-wise. That St. Bernard is definitely in much better shape as far as our streets. The 2-hour trip that I took home yesterday from Anderson got a whole lot better when I got into St. Bernard. But I would definitely want to thank the service department for what they did. They've worked very hard, and we have a lot to be proud of in keeping our streets safe and how they've dealt with the snow event. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Is there a report from the auditor? Mr. Paul?
Yes, Mr. President, I have the auditor's report. Thank you, Mr. President. I am happy to report that all of the W-2s and the 1099s were sent out. We did have a small issue with employees signing into their accounts. After working with the payroll software company, it was determined that an update they did now require that everyone must use all caps when signing in and for their password. Any employees having problems signing in should try this first. If it still does not work, please email me at auditor@cityofstbernard.org. As I continue to work from home, do not hesitate to call or email me with anything you need. Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Law Director? Madam
No
Baltimore?
report at this time, but I would like to go into executive session to discuss ongoing litigation.
President,
Mr. DeVerke,
make a motion to go into executive session at the end of the meeting for ongoing litigation. It's been a long week.
A motion by Mr. DeVerke, second by Mr. Bob Culbertson to go into executive session to discuss ongoing litigation at the end of this meeting. Are there any remarks? Clerk, will you please call the roll on motion? Bless you.
Yes.
Mr. DeVerke,
Aye.
Mr. Ray Culbertson,
Aye.
Mr. Schoenmeyer,
Aye.
Mr. Bob Culbertson,
Aye.
Mrs. Miller.
5 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Council will go into executive session at the end of this meeting. All right, Treasurer, Mr. Ungrove.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening, I have this bank statement from First State Bank for the city's memorial fund that we have down there that's used to maintain the square out front of the city hall here. As of the end of last month, January 31st, 2021, we have a total there of $5,656.68. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Safety and Service Director, Mr. Paul.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to thank our firemen for all the work that they are putting into the safety center. They have taken upon themselves to make some repairs and saving us some funds. Thank you. Thanks for all the hard work on keeping our streets clear. Our service department is second to none. I will try to keep my special assignments to a minimum until the weather cooperates. They were probably hoping I said until spring, but they know what it takes and usually do not complain. Thanks again. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Tax Commissioner / Administrator, Ms. Helms.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to remind everyone that the St. Bernard Tax Return Preparation Assistance is now going to be available by appointment only. We are transitioning away from drop-in preparation to maintain COVID guidelines, privacy issues, and eliminate long waits. We will not be able to assist in St. Bernard tax preparation the week of April 12th through 15th, so please plan accordingly and file early. According to our software providers, our online filing system should be available hopefully next week. All the tax forms are available now on the city's website. This concludes my report.
Thank you. We now move to reports of standing committees. Finance, Mr. DeVerke.
No report.
Thank you. Safety, Mr. Ray Culbertson.
At this time, I'd just like to take a moment to thank Officer Charlie Barnes in the police department, who retired this past week, and all of his years of service to the village. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Service, Mr. Schoenmeyer.
I've got the report, Mr. President, for January 2021 for the Service Department. In January, we placed 18 trucks at residences. We placed 31 dumpsters at residences. We had 219 special pickups at residences and 167 tons of garbage taken to landfill. Recycling-wise, we had 37.5 tons of recycling material, and including 4,220 pounds of scrap metal. And then I also wanted to just thank the Service Department for doing such a great job with the roads. There is a noticeable difference between St. Bernard and surrounding communities, and also to the guys collecting garbage. That can't be easy in that amount of snow. They're doing a great job and keeping up. I appreciate it. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Public Improvements, Mr. Bob Culbertson.
Thank you, Mr. President. The only thing I have is the next CIC meeting is Tuesday, February 23rd at 6 p.m. in council chambers. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Marketing, Ms. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to let our residents know that the deadline to sign up for boys not hold baseball and girls softball is tomorrow, February the 12th. You can sign up at City Hall between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. The We Thrive meeting is set for Thursday, February 18th at 4 p.m. I will report back with any updates at the next council meeting this month. Also, a special thanks to our service department for keeping our roads clear. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience wishing to address? Nope. All right. What is the council's pleasure on the absent members?
Mr. President,
Mr. DeVerke.
make a motion, we excuse the 2 absent members.
I'll second it.
A motion by Mr. DeVerke, seconded by Mr. Ray Culbertson to excuse the absent members. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Before we go into executive session, the next council meeting will be Thursday, February 25th, and then the following committee of the whole will be Thursday, March 11th. I show total of 4 ordinances, 3 for the part-time positions, and 1 for the emergency services contract with Elmwood Place. This time, we will go into executive session and we will return. right, council is back. Council met in executive session to discuss ongoing litigation. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President,
Mr. Ray Culberson.
make a motion, we adjourn.
A motion by Mr. Ray Culberson, second by Mr. Schultmeyer to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, we are adjourned.